Ballet is a form of dance that focuses on lines, but line dances happen at weddings, and wedding dances are usually ballroom dances, which are usually traditional European dances, not to be confused with European folk dances, which are sometimes done in squares, but that's different from square dance, which is a form of country dance, like line dance, which, as I mentioned, happened at weddings, but not as the first dance. The first dance was probably performed by cavemen around a fire, but if you're dancing with fire, that's a cultural fire dance, which is different from Firebird, which is a ballet, which, as I mentioned, emphasizes lines, but hip-hop emphasizes the groove and is street dance, except street dance is also breakdancing, which is an Olympic sport, and dance is not a sport because you don't compete except when you do, like cheer. Cheer is outdoor gymnastics that is also inside dancing. Gymnastics is a sport that sometimes has dancing, which is different from acro, which is dancing that sometimes has gymnastics. Acro was acrobatics, which is not a sport or dancing, even though it's both, and acrobats travel in circuses like Broadway shows. Broadway dancing is just jazz with singing. Jazz is ballet with groove, not to be confused with hip-hop, which is street dance with groove, but if it's just groove, then it's disco. Disco is a form of club dance, but if you're dancing in the club, that's just drug dancing, which is different from that scene in Fiddler on the Roof where they all dance with alcohol. That's Broadway dance, even though there's no jazz. If you're drunk, you might wiggle a lot, which is different from belly dances, which is wiggle dancing. Wiggles, however, are a pop children's group that sing and dance and do jazz hands, but they don't count as Broadway dance, even though Fiddler on the Roof does. One form of acrobatics is pole dancing, which doesn't count as art because it's sexy, but burlesque does, even though it's just sexy jazz. Not to be confused with regular jazz, which is also sexy. Not to be confused with tap, which is jazz where you hit the floor with your feet, but in Irish dancing, you hit your feet together in the air. Irish dancing is a traditional European dance, like ballet.